Albert.
There we go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we come to you yet again just to say thank you. We thank you for this opportunity to come together and discuss the business of our community. We just ask for your guidance and your direction, and of course your wisdom. We thank you for all you have done, and of course all that we know you will do. In Christ's name's sake that we pray.
Amen. Thank you, Albert. Roll call.
Turner.
Here.
Stock.
Here.
Young.
Here.
Meadows.
Here.
Coward.
Here.
Harville.
Here.
Elbert.
Here.
And Venable.
Hearing of citizens' comments, those people that wanted to say something or a little bit of something, please come up and sign in on the sheet. And we have 3-minute limit tonight.
Good evening. My name is Betty St. John. I'm a Boonville landlord, and I realize that the Kemper Village Green complex has already been approved, but I would just like to offer you my opinions on it for what it's worth, which is practically nothing. First of all, I believe that HUD is trying to encourage private landlords to open Section 8 units rather than having large concentrations of economically disadvantaged people living in a high-density population area, a small area. Instead, have neighborhoods throughout the city that are more economically integrated rather than having them all concentrated in one area. And this housing development seems to be going contrary to what the federal government is recommending. Secondly, I'd like to mention that I was a little disappointed at the last city council meeting when some of the council members said something to the effect of, it's about time Boonville landlords had a little competition. I don't think that's a fair statement because we don't fix prices, Boonville landlords don't. We're competitive with one another. If we put our prices too high, our units don't make it. It's not a fair statement because none of the people that I know that are landlords have received favorable financing or tax breaks or incentives, whatever you want to call them. As a matter of fact, my taxes have increased over the last year or two. And I do offer low-income housing. I have 6 units, and 3 of my tenants are receiving economic support from the government for their rent. I'm not receiving any kind of a tax break for my providing housing for economically disadvantaged families. So I don't think that was a very fair statement. We are competitive, and you just can't compare apples to oranges because we don't have the advantages that the large corporations have. So that's all I had to say. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Patty. Thank you. Next. This gentleman looks familiar.
He's old. My name's Ken Askren, for those of you who don't know me, and I appreciate the fact that you allow somebody from Billingsville to come and speak to you. I'm a member of the Katy Bridge Coalition, formerly known as the Save the Katy Bridge Coalition, and we're passing out this evening some documents for your consideration, and I just briefly want to speak to those. We're here today to request and suggest that you might refer to either the Park and Recreations Board or the Historic Preservation Board for their consideration as to whether or not a subcommittee might be formed that would be the Katy Bridge Park Committee, and that would allow a group of folks who are appointed by the mayor, approved by the city council, to deal specifically with the Katy Bridge as a park, just because it's your park and that's what it's called. And since you all own it, we want to help support it. The coalition will continue to be in place as a corporation. We will still be a fundraising entity. You will note I provided you with a bank statement there, so for those who think that we're sitting on a pot of gold, you'll see that we have some money, and we have enough money to do what we think would be beneficial to the city, which would be, if there is a Katy Bridge Park Committee, that grant applications, which would be made to the state or the federal government for transportation dollars, would be underwritten by us if the need came to have a grant writer to write those grants on behalf of the city. We can't submit it because we don't own the bridge. They have to be submitted by the city if there's going to be any funding mechanism, and obviously then the funds flow to you, and there would be contracts, and you would go about whatever the endeavor was for restoring the bridge. I have today several members from the coalition. I'm just going to have them stand up and give their name.
Wayne Harmon.
Yardley Wing. Deanna Harmon.
Todd Bosley.
And these are all members of the board, and so they came tonight just for support. Our consideration would be is that we want to eventually see the Katy Trail be a continuous trail all the way across the state, which would mean that the bridge would have to be renovated so it could, in fact, be utilized in a down position. There are plans already in place for that, which we paid yearly for years ago. They obviously have to, from a cost standpoint, the costs have gone up, but the plans haven't changed. And so our request tonight is if you take a look at these, if you think there's any merit to the suggestion, I've taken the liberty of drafting a potential amendment to the ordinances. There's nothing magic about them, but at least it's a discussion point going forward. And if that would be a referral to one or both of those committees, we would then love to meet with them so that we could talk about the future of the Katy Bridge and the Katy Bridge Park. Appreciate your time, and I hope that we'll get consideration of this request tonight.
Thank you, Ken. Appreciate it.
Hello, my name is Wayne Harmon. My wife and I have two businesses in Cooper County, Star Pines, the Christmas tree farm here, and Celestial Body on Main Street here in Boonville. We have thousands of people that come to our farm every year to get a Christmas tree, and they ask us about the Katy Bridge. And this has been going on for quite a few years. They know we're involved, and they're curious as to where the development is going with the bridge. At Peddler's Jamboree, I went around and got signatures from these petitions that you see here. And every time I handed one to someone, they asked what it was about, and I said it's to get the bridge operable so you can ride your bicycle across it. I got an overwhelming response from people saying, I hate that hill. I don't like going across the highway bridge with all the highway traffic. I don't feel safe. And there's not really much room there to pedal across the bridge. And they were all overwhelmingly in favor of signing the petition and wanted to see this go forward. You know, they want to be able to walk and bike across it. This is the longest rails to trails, and it's a state park, and the only thing lacking the connection is the bridge. And it can be made operable. And it is the last connection to be made. Boonville has a jewel. They just need to shine it up. You may be aware of some other bridges in the RV Travel magazine, which goes to people of our ages everywhere around the country, and they're looking for places to go to. This one just came out. Duluth, this is a must-do, they say. Duluth's 135-foot high aerial lift bridge towers over the canal entrance to St. Louis Bay, and it is raised up and down for the ships. And they're talking about this is the main attraction for Duluth, for people to drive up with their RV and see this. Now, I went to Duluth this year, and it's a beautiful place. And they say this bridge is lifted up to 5,000 times per year. So your chances of seeing the bridge rise and fall is very great if you go there. I moved here in 1982, and I was fortunate enough to see the bridge actually function before it was held in the upper position. And I can remember back then watching it and marveling at it from the existing bridge that we had at the time. So I think it's very important.
You got about 15 seconds.
Thank you for your time, Ned.
Good for you. You stayed inside the time limit. I appreciate it. Next. Mary Pat, I need to warn Ken about the 3 minutes. I know you'll stay inside, but I have a feeling Ken will probably just
Do we
stretch.
both get 3 minutes?
You will.
Oh,
Well, basically, what I'm here for is,
See you, Ken.
that can. I can understand.
I'm basically here to thank you guys for helping us have the first sip and stroll and rock and rollin'. I think the council kind of set the stage for the rest of the city, who was wonderful to work with. Every single department probably was involved in this. We had tons of volunteers, great cross-section of the community, and we had people from not only Boonville, but all over central Missouri show up. The atmosphere, I hope some of you were there, the atmosphere was perfect. I'll let Mary Pat talk.
Thanks, Ken.
Kenny always gets to talk first, so. We were thrilled with the way everything turned out, and it really could not have happened without the progressive ideas that were accepted by you all of doing things a little differently on Main Street. And in addition to that, all the merchants that were cooperative, the volunteers, that over 70 volunteers worked on this project. And we couldn't be happier with the vendors. I brought some follow-up. It has the map that we used and also the blessed 55 rock stars that really were instrumental in providing the foundation for us to proceed. And we'd like to get your input. So we have a wrapping it up questionnaire survey for you all, each individually to fill out. I know some of you are also volunteers on the committee or the day of. If you could look at this particular evaluation and suggestions from the city's standpoint regarding how our proposals were in writing as well as at council meetings, and we're also going to be asking the different departments, street department, park department, and of course the police. Everybody was wonderful to work with. We can't thank you enough. The volunteers are a good indication, and we felt that we spanned all ages and also the cultural element of the community, and we were forever grateful for all those involved. Thank you. We're not going to give out statistics yet because we're still working on it, but we will soon. We know we had hundreds here. Thank you so much. And
Thanks,
I'll
Mary
pass
Pat.
this out. Kenny, you could go that way and I'll go this way. Okay.
So we think Boonville presented itself in a really, really nice way that day.
I don't need one, I'm working on mine, it's in my email. You do need one for your
We
files.
need one, yes. And we need one as volunteer and also input as a city.
Thank you.
So you're just very important.
I guess.
Do we have somebody else that has a comment?
Thank you.
Come on up. Introduce yourself, and you'll have 3 minutes to say what you want to say.
Sure.
Hi.
Good evening. I actually said hello to you all a month ago when I was just about to move my parents back. My name is Karen Sue, spelled H-S-U. And just as a note, I was on the SIPN committee, and one of the comments I received consistently from the vendors who do this thing all the time was that Boonville is by far the most friendly community they've encountered. So that was really nice for them. As a newer citizen, I know there are a number of developments going on in the city, and there was one recently, a resolution approved for the Kemper villages and so forth. And I was looking at the minutes, and what I'm interested in is there are actually more developments that are going on right now or about to be proposed than I knew of, and I just got here. what's been concerning to me is I'm actually conducting a business marketing analysis to expand my business on Main Street in Boonville. And so I ask people a lot of questions. And it concerns me when I ask about these developments, how few of the citizens know that they're going on, what's going on, and what the impact is going to be. And there's been not just kind of blasé, oh, it'll be fine, but unfortunately I've encountered a lot of people who are either very furious or heartbroken about some of these developments. And so it goes to, taking a look at who's voting for what and understanding why that's going on. So certainly I'd love to meet with you, Mr. Beach, and ask some questions. And also, is Gigi McQuinlan McCravey, is she the city planner, or she's the director of economic development?
Economic development.
Okay, so to kind of see what the plan is, because my mom and dad home finally, and I was in CNR last week, and there were when I said we're fairly new here, she said, gosh, there were 3 people already in line at her cash register who stated that they had moved back to Boonville. So definitely it's a place that people love, and we do as well. And I have many family members in the local cemetery that I feel a stewardship toward in their legacy, many of whom served on the Boonville Historical Society. My grandmother certainly played the organ and sang for half the weddings and funerals in Boonville over the years. So it's just a matter of I'd like to know about these developments, and is there an overall plan? Because when I read about those apartments that are at the Kemper Village, and there was concern by Mr. Rohr at the last meeting, we need 1 bedroom, but they're doing 2 or 3, and Mr. Meyer says, well, maybe we can do it. And the fact that this resolution is being approved before we have that information, and that some of the voting is, oh, it's for our economic growth. Well, what does that mean? And I'm here to ask the whole council, is there an overall plan for the city? And I'm going to tell you why I have such concern, not only from what I've heard from citizens like myself, but my parents moved from a little town in Washington State called Linwood. 7-8 years ago, it was in the country. They're off of an avenue called Manor Way, and within that.
30 seconds.
Okay, well, the bottom line is that the people are moving out of that town because it's wall-to-wall, hodgepodge apartments, condos, and people who bought a home for the long term with forest abutting their back property now have apartments and a fence and people looking down into the backyard where their children play. So I would like that not to become Boonville. Where it's a historic town, I'd love for us to embrace that, and I would just like to ask the council, are we protecting that, and what is our legacy going to be going forward? Is there a long-term, as well as a short-term game plan? And that's the question I will leave. Mr. Young, when I tried to call you, your voicemail wasn't set up. I hope that's been taken care of. I did leave a message for Mr. Stock. I didn't get a call back, but I'm interested to know. I don't know anything, and I'm sure some of you could set me straight and put me at ease about some of those things, and I thank you.
Okay. What number did you call?
The one that's on the website. The one that's on the city council website, yeah. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, we will close the citizen comments. Approval of the minutes of the September 19th, 2022 council meeting. Are there any suggested changes or corrections?
I have one.
Okay, well, speak it out.
Last meeting, at the close of the meeting, I made mention, I really raised a question with Russ there about water, how our system was set up. And I think maybe my question got lost in my lead-in question when I was asked about what's going on in Jackson, Mississippi, and so forth. But really, my question was, how is our system prone to the same situations they had in Jackson? And I thought I heard you say there's not a likelihood of that happening here. Is that correct?
Correct.
I would just like the minutes to reflect that the question was raised and Russ's answer to that.
Okay, you got it? Mm-hmm. Okay, we've got it. Thanks, Albert.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah,
Go, Psych.
the approved minutes for the last meeting, it does show that there was none opposed to Resolution 2022-15. Me and Barry both voted negative for that. So that needs to be.
On these minutes?
Yep.
Page 7.
Page 7, opposed, none.
Yeah. I missed that. So I'll add an apology to that. Thanks, anybody else? Okay, then they will stand as corrected. Consent items. This first one's on page 10 and 11. Consider pay request order number 1 from Vance Brothers Incorporated in the amount of $44,010.17 for chip and seal roadway improvements.
We can do all of them together.
And that's what I was about to do.
Okay.
Okay, item B, consider pay request number 2 from Grace Trucking and Excavation in the amount of $116,424.34 for SEMA stormwater improvements. That was on page 12 and 13. Item C, consider change order number 1 from Vance Brothers Incorporated in the amount of negative $5,781.83 for chip and seal roadway improvements, and that is a credit. That's on page 14. Item D, consider change order number 2 from Grace Trucking and Excavating in the amount of negative $8,874 for SEMA stormwater improvements. That's on page 15. Is there a motion?
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve these change orders.
Thank you, Susan.
Mr. Mayor, I'll second the motion.
Thank you.
Just for clarity's sake, I think Susan wants to accept the change orders and the pay requests.
Oh, thank you, yes.
Yep,
Change orders and what?
and the pay requests.
Oh, I don't pay.
Okay.
I second that as well.
Well, I'm glad somebody's being accurate, aren't you? Yeah. Any comments, questions? Roll call.
Turner,
Yes.
Stock,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Calvert,
Yes.
Harville,
Yes.
Albert.
Yes.
Okay. Item 6, presentation of accounts and claims. This is on page 16. You know what to do.
Ordinance appropriating money. Be it ordained by the council of the city of Boonville as follows. Section 1, for the purpose of paying salaries in various accounts against the city of Boonville, which have been allowed by the council at the regular meeting thereof on October 3rd, 2022, the sum of $478,701.17. General fund, $143,104.12. Sanitation, $20,613.00. CIP tax, $83,598.84. Waterworks, $93,251.62. Capital projects, $26,309.84. Wastewater, $59,750.98. Tourism, $10,630.70. Gaming, $36,980.05. Parks and Water, $2,145.77. Kemper sales tax, $2,316.25. Economic Development Projects, $0.00. Section 2, the accountant is hereby authorized and instructed to draw checks on the respective city bank accounts in favor of persons whose salaries and accounts have been allowed as above, amounting to $478,701.17, being the total amount of money being appropriated. Section 3, this ordinance shall take effect and be enforced from and after its passage. First reading on October 3rd, 2022, read for the second time this October 3rd, 2022, since a copy was made available prior to the meeting.
Second reading, title only.
Ordinance appropriating money.
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve these salaries and accounts, payment for the salaries and accounts.
Thanks, Susan.
I'll second that, Mayor.
Thanks, Steve. Questions, comments? Roll call.
Turner,
Yes.
Stock,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Calvert,
Yes.
Harville,
Yes.
Elbert.
Yes.
Okay, item 7 is unfinished business. These are second readings, so you don't have any paper on these. But I want to do all of them at the same time. You got to do them separate.
Yeah, do them separate.
Yep. Item A is second reading of bill number 2022-024, approving a final site plan for Club Car Wash, 2420 Boone Slick Drive.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, approving the final site plan for Club Car Wash at 2420 Boonesick Drive, Boonville, Cooper County, Missouri, providing an effective date therefore and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Is there a motion?
I so move.
Thanks, Susan. Second? Mike is the second. Discussion?
Do we have any updated information in terms of opening dates and that type of thing? How many employees that might be involved?
This will, the approval of this final site plan will enable Club Car Wash to get a building permit to begin construction. So, I mean, at least they can start. I do know they pulled a demo permit for the existing car wash that's there.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Turner,
Yes.
Stock,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Coward,
Yes.
Harville,
Yes.
Elbert.
Yes.
Item B, second reading of bill number 2022-025, approving a final site plan for Scooter's Coffee, 2395 Main Street. Is there a motion?
I'll motion that we approve this.
Hold on, I need to read it. I gotta
Oh,
go to
sorry.
it first. Apologize. A lot of paper here. Okay. An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, approving the final site plan for Scooter's Coffee at 2395 Main Street, Boonville, Cooper County, Missouri, providing an effective date therefore and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
You still in, Andrew?
Yes, I would still like to
Okay.
motion.
All right, thank you. Second?
Gotcha.
Mike, second. Questions, comments? Roll call.
Turner,
Yes.
Stock,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Coward,
Yes.
Harville,
Yes.
Elbert.
Yes.
Item C, second reading of bill number 2022-026, approving a final site plan for Phase 3 apartment complex at Boone Point Subdivision.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, approving the final site plan for Boone Point Subdivision Phase 3 apartment complexes located on Ashley Road adjacent to Rolling Hills Park.
Okay. Is there a motion?
To make a motion that we approve it.
All right, thank you, Susan. Second? Albert? This is second. Questions, comments? Roll call.
Turner,
Yes.
Stock,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Coward,
Yes.
Harville,
Yes.
Elbert.
Yes.
Passes. Item D, second reading of bill number 2022-027, accepting the sewer and water infrastructure for Phase 1 of Boone Point development.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, accepting the sewer lines and water distribution lines and appurtenances in Phase 1 in Boone Point Subdivision for maintenance purposes, providing an effective date therefore and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Is there a motion? Is this a who's on first?
Motion to approve.
Okay, thank you, Steve.
I'll second it.
Okay, Susan, thank you. Questions, comments?
I did have a question on this. It is, did we inspect? I mean, all this has been super inspected. I mean, because we're taking over maintenance, so it's.
Yep. Yeah, no, we do a thorough inspection. Scott, Steve, Jeff, and myself, as well as along the way, they did sewer testing, flow testing, quality testing to make sure, so any imperfections or something that was wrong, we identified and they have to correct them.
You need to add anything to that, Scott?
That's all in accordance with DNR requirements.
Okay. Any other questions? Roll call.
Turner,
Yes.
Stock,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Harville,
Yes.
Elbert.
Yes. Item E, second reading of bill number 2022-028, amending the City of Boonville Access Management Manual, Boonville Code of Ordinances, Appendix B, regarding concrete street, residential street specifications.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, amending Appendix B, Access Management Manual of the Boonville Code of General Ordinances, amending the street specifications for concrete residential street specifications, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Steve. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Andrew. Questions, comments?
Can someone talk a little bit about this, what we're doing here?
Yeah, and Scott can chime in too. It's essentially a cleanup of the street access management manual. What we found was that our residential concrete streets did not require the 4-inch of compacted base rock in the requirements that it did for like collector streets and main arterials and all the other streets, but not residential. And we just know that we want that base rock in there for the stability and strength of the road in the long term. You can look at some of our other concrete street subdivisions that may or may not have had the rock under, and the ones that don't oftentimes fail earlier. So we want them to put it in before we'll accept it.
Good.
Did I say all that right, Scott?
Yep.
Okay.
Except that your old specifications were from 1986.
Yes.
Was that, do you think that was part of the problem with Woodland Park?
I'm not gonna
Okay.
speculate on that.
So remember I talked to you a long time ago about Highland Park, that he didn't go down far enough and you had a change order. Is that what we was talking about right here on Highland Park? That the guy went down 2 inches, that if he had it went down 4 inches, that he saw that it wasn't done right? Do you remember a long time ago?
No, I don't believe that has anything to do with this.
Okay then.
Anybody else? Roll call.
Turner,
Yes.
Stock,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Harville,
Yes.
Elbert.
Yes.
Thank you. Item 8, new business. We are about to go through first readings. You'll remember when we have first readings, we don't comment, we don't talk about them. None of that. We don't do that until we get to the second readings. I just want to remind everybody of that. Okay?
Mr. Mayor, is it appropriate to ask if there's clarification you need so you can think about it between now and the second reading? Is that not appropriate?
I think if it were I'd loop back around, maybe with Kate or whomever has proposed it, as opposed to breaking the parliamentary procedures.
You could also address it in miscellaneous.
Okay. That's a good idea.
It's the potpourri category.
Yeah, right, exactly. Okay, first reading of bill number 2022-029, authorizing and improving a conveyance of real estate by the City of Boonville to Beach Family Investments, LLC.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, authorizing and approving a conveyance of real estate by the City of Boonville to Beach Family Investments, LLC, a Missouri limited liability company, and further authorizing the preparation of a special warranty deed and other necessary documents for purposes of such conveyance.
Item B, first reading of bill number 2022, easy for you to say, -030, authorizing and approving a conveyance of real estate by the City of Boonville to 512 Investments, LLC.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, authorizing and approving a conveyance of real estate by the City of Boonville to 512 Investments, LLC, a Missouri limited liability company, and further authorizing the preparation of a special warranty deed and other necessary documents for purposes of such conveyance.
Item C, first reading of bill number 2022-031, authorizing and approving a conveyance of real estate by the City of Boonville to William and Pamela Rapp.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, authorizing and approving a conveyance of real estate by the City of Boonville to William L. Rapp and Pamela S. Rapp, husband and wife, and further authorizing the preparation of a special warranty deed and other necessary documents for purposes of such conveyance.
Item D, first reading of bill number 2022-032, amending section 21-157 regarding primacy fees to be referenced in the schedule of administrative fees. It's on pages 34 and 35.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, amending the Code of General Ordinances, section 21-157C, procedures and rates relating to state assessed primacy fees, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Item E, first reading of bill number 2022-033, amending section 21-148 regarding state-assessed wastewater sewer connection fees to be referenced in Schedule of Administrative Fees, page 36 and 37.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, amending the Code of General Ordinances, section 21-148D, 7B, procedures and rates relating to state-assessed wastewater sewer connection fees, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Item F, first reading of bill number 2022-034, amending section 21-157 regarding water and water service rates to be referenced in Schedule of Administrative Fees. It's on page 38.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, amending the Code of General Ordinances, section 21-157A4C, changing rates to be charged for water and water service, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Item G, first reading of bill number 2022-0535, amending section 21-148 regarding wastewater service fees inside and outside city limits to be referenced in Schedule of Administrative Fees. It's on page 39 and 40.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, amending the Code of General Ordinances, sections 21-148, D3, 21-148, D6B, and D, changing rates to be charged for wastewater service inside and outside the corporate city limits, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Item H, first reading of bill number 2022-036, amending section 21-181 regarding solid waste collection fees to be referenced in Schedule of Administrative Fees. It's on page 41 and 42.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, amending certain parts of Chapter 21, Article 5, Section 21-181, relating to solid waste collection fees, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Item I, first reading of bill number 2022-037, amending section 21-168 regarding water rates to customers outside the city limits to be referenced in Schedule of Administrative Fees. It's on page 43.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, amending the Code of General Ordinances, Section 21 through 158B, changing the rates to be charged for water to customers outside the city limits, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Item J, first reading of bill number 2022-038, amending section 21-161 regarding meter rental fees to be referenced in Schedule of Administrative Fees. It's on page 44 and 45.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, amending certain parts of Chapter 21, Article 5, Division 2, Section 21 through 161, relating to meter rental fees, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Item K, first reading of bill number 2022-039, amending section 21-144 regarding disconnection fees to be referenced in Schedule of Administrative Fees, page 46 and 47.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, amending certain parts of Chapter 21, Article 5, Section 21 through 144, relating to disconnection fees for unpaid bills, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Item L, first reading of bill number 2022-040, amending section 21-163 regarding water meter deposits to establish service to be referenced in Schedule of Administrative Fees. It's on pages 48 and 49.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, amending certain parts of Chapter 21, Article 5, Division 2, Section 21 through 163B and C, relating to water meter deposits, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Item M, first reading of bill number 2022-041, amending section 21-13 regarding application for water tap service permit fees to be referenced in Schedule of administrative fees. It's on pages 50 and 51.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, amending certain parts of Chapter 21, Article 2, Division 1, Section 21 through 13, relating to application for service, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Item N, first reading of bill number 2022-042, amending section 21-174 regarding application for sewer service permit fees to be referenced in Schedule of Administrative Fees. It's on page 52 and 53.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, amending certain parts of Chapter 21, Article 3, Division 3, Section 21 through 74, relating to classes of permits, application, and fees for sewer connection, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Item O, first reading of bill number 2022-043, amending section 10-6 regarding business license fees, section 10-221 regarding tattoo establishment fees, section 16-20 regarding peddler fees, all to be referenced in Schedule of Administrative Fees, pages 54 through 56.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, amending certain parts of Chapter 10, Article 1, Section 10 through 6, relating to business license fee schedule. Chapter 10, Article 9, Section 10 through 221, relating to tattoo establishment fees. And Chapter 16, Article 2, Section 16 through 20, relating to peddler fees, providing an effective date, therefore repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Item P, first reading of bill number 2022-044, amending section 3-39 regarding intoxicating liquor non-intoxicating beer license fees to be referenced in Schedule of Administrative Fees. It's on page 57 and 58.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, amending certain parts of Chapter 3, Article 2, Division 2, Section 3 through 39, liquor and non-intoxicating beer license fees, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Item Q, first reading of bill number 2022-045, amending section 6 through 13 regarding city cemeteries fees to be referenced in Schedule of Administrative Fees. It's on page 59 and 60.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, amending certain parts of Chapter 6, Section 6 through 11, relating to prices of lots at city cemeteries, and Chapter 6, Section 6 through 13, relating to grave openings and closing, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Item R, first reading of bill number 2022-046, amending the Schedule of Administrative Fees. It's on pages 61 through 72.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, adopting a new schedule of administrative fees, Appendix G, in the Code of General Ordinances, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing parts of ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Item S, consider resolution number R 2022-16, authorizing and approving an agreement with SMI Company, Contracting LLC for wastewater treatment plant repair project. It's on page 73.
A resolution of the City of Boonville, Missouri, authorizing and approving an agreement between Smyco Contracting Group LLC and the City of Boonville, Missouri pertaining to wastewater treatment repair project and providing an effective date therefore. Whereas the City of Boonville has solicited and received a proposal for this project and determined that Smyco Contracting Group LLC represents the best proposal pursuant to the purchasing code set forth in Section 2-20 of the City of Boonville Code of Ordinances. Therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Boonville, Missouri as follows. Section 1, that a certain agreement between Smyco Contracting Group LLC and the City of Boonville, Missouri relating to the wastewater treatment plant repair project, a copy of which is marked Exhibit A, is attached hereto and made a part hereof, is hereby approved. That the city administrator and city clerk are hereby authorized to execute and attest said agreement on behalf of the City of Boonville. Section 3, this resolution will take effect and be in full force from and after its passage and approval. Passed this third day of October 2022 by the City Council of Boonville, Missouri.
We have a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve this resolution.
Thank you, Susan. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Andrew. Questions, comments?
Can we have a summary of what this is preventing and helping? Scott or Russell? Who's the water main?
Right, your staff at the wastewater treatment plant came up with a project that they needed in reference to the headwork structure. There's a channel where the concrete has deteriorated, the grouting in the concrete channel is deteriorated, so we're going to remove and replace that grout in that channel. Over at the stormwater detention basin, there's some concrete that is deteriorated over there, and we're going to remove and replace that. Then at the clarifier, there's a trough. It's a discharge trough on the clarifier. And that trough gets a lot of the effluent that comes over the clarifier. There's a lot of scum and mold that builds up and deteriorates the concrete and pits the concrete. So we're going to sandblast the entire trough. We're going to then spray grout and fill in all the divots and holes. Then apply an epoxy spray, and it's going to allow the staff to then clean it easier by spraying it off, because right now it's just exposed concrete.
So that's three.
3 items. Oh, and then there's a manhole out there that has some lining that needs to be done to it. So there's 4 items. I forgot the manhole.
Okay, thanks,
I
Scott.
see we only got 1 bid. Is that common for this type of job?
This kind of work is really a specialty item with the spray grout and the epoxy and so
Simcoe
forth.
and Miko. Right, it's still 2.
So, yeah,
Oh, yeah, you're right, I guess, I stand
we had
corrected.
to go, we had to go find them.
Okay.
Believe me, we had to go find the contractor to do it.
At least their bid was right on the estimate, basically.
Yes, it was very close.
Yeah, what was I guess what was the difference? I mean,
Speak up, Si.
yeah, I mean, he just pointed out, I thought it was 2 separate bids, but it is, he's right. It is an estimate and then just a bid. Why, I mean, some of this, like the subgrade compaction, engineering, you guys said it was only gonna be like $40 and then they came back with 800.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what, I guess, I would
It's
think,
a small quantity, and if you ever looked at the stormwater basin, it's on a 2-to-1 slope. So it's on a steep slope of concrete that the basin's at, and it's a small quantity. So they escalated their price in reference to that. They put more money in that bid item than they put in some of the other bid items.
yeah, and, I mean, what was the reasoning? I mean, I guess you said we had to go out and find Simcoe. Is there anybody else that would bid this, or?
Nobody else would bid it.
Are they available to get the job done soon? Do you know what the timing looks like?
The timing is they're hoping to get part of it done this fall yet and finishing it up in the spring. So they're even asking for leeway to fit it into their schedule.
Okay.
And they're out of Odessa.
Yes, they've worked on your treatment plant before, and that's why I went directly to them, because they've done work on your wastewater plant. Your staff is very familiar with them, and they are a reputable contractor.
Okay, thanks.
Just to kind of follow up on site question there, how difficult is it to, when you get that kind of variation that we just talked about there, could something be put in the notes here? Why would we have to ask about that? Seems to me like if you got that kind of variation, there should be an explanation go with it. You agree with that?
I can do that. I can, we call the contractor when we get deviations like this and we request an explanation. I can put that in the bid tab if you want.
I think that would certainly be helpful to me to
That would be
see
fine.
why we're off that much.
Mm-hmm.
That is an area that has concerned me.
I can do that in the
sometimes.
future, yes.
Great.
When it's within, that kind of price difference, yes.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, overall, like mobilization, it was actually lower on their bid, so I mean, 800, but still a $40 versus 800 seems like a really large difference to me, but, yeah.
And that's the reason that they gave. But overall in the project versus what we came up and thought it was and presented to the staff and what they budgeted for in the project, because of based on our estimate versus what we actually got, it is well within reason. And that's more what we look at.
You're looking more at the bottom line.
We're looking at the bottom line.
Gotcha.
Good. Anything else for Scott? All right.
I appreciate it.
Now we have a motion, a second, and a discussion. Motion we approve. Roll call.
I was gonna say, we already
I thought you
motioned on
wanted
that.
a motion.
We already did it.
Turner,
Oh,
Yes.
Stock,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Harville,
Yes.
Albert,
Yes. Okay, thank you, motion passes. Item T, consider resolution number R 2022-17, authorizing and approving a cooperative agreement between Cooper County Clerk and the City of Boonville regarding the collection of city taxes.
Resolution of the City of Boonville, Missouri, authorizing and approving a cooperative agreement between the Cooper County Clerk and the City of Boonville, Missouri regarding the collection of city ad valorem taxes and providing an effective date therefore. Whereas the City of Boonville, Missouri and the Cooper County Clerk desire to enter into a cooperative agreement authorized and permitted by Section 50.322, 70.220, to 70.320 inclusive, and Sections 140.670 to 140.750 inclusive of the revised statutes of Missouri for the cooperative efforts of the parties to collect taxes of the City of Boonville on property located within the boundaries of said city, which is located in Cooper County, Missouri. And now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Boonville, Missouri as follows. Section 1, that a certain cooperative agreement between the Cooper County Clerk and the City of Boonville, Missouri, a copy of which is marked Exhibit A and is attached hereto and made a part hereof, is hereby approved. Section 2, that the mayor and the city clerk be and are hereby authorized to execute and attest in said agreement in multiple counterparts on behalf of the City of Boonville. Section 3, that the fully executed agreement and counterparts be delivered to the Cooper County Commission for consideration and approval as soon as practical. Section 5, this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after its passage and approval. Passed this Thursday of October 2022 by the City of Council of Boonville, Missouri.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Steve, for that. Somebody the second. Mike's got the second. Questions, comments?
I got a question. So this is just for 1 year, right?
Yes, sir.
So is there thought about making another agreement for extended years?
Yeah,
after
so
that?
I'm just waiting, well, I'm waiting for the election.
Okay.
Again. And I think once it's finished and the new officers are sworn in January, that we can meet with the commissioners and whoever the incoming clerk is to see where we all stand.
Sounds good.
So we're kicking the can yet again.
So there was discussion at one point, sorry Steve, there was discussion at one point that the collector would be involved in the agreements. The collector is not part of this agreement.
That's correct.
Correct. Once the city clerk, or county clerk, resigned, I just held on to the resolution that we had passed earlier to kind of see what transpired, because ultimately we would like to do tax collection the way the state tells us it should be done and not circumvent the process. So this is the way they lay it out most efficiently and most appropriately. So since the opportunity to go back to the county clerk was available, I think that's a better solution.
And, sorry, go ahead.
Two things. Can we rewrite it to have section 4 instead of 5?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, the second thing was, how binding will this be? Because I know it shows that you're trying to go to March 1st February 28th of 2023. So if the new clerk comes in, when do they take office?
They swear in January.
January. Okay, so they'd just be like a month.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. All right.
Good question.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
So, but we are back essentially to the 2018 agreement.
Say it again.
We're back to the 2018 agreement.
Essentially without any money. She didn't ask for any money, so fine.
Okay.
She's gonna do the work but not get paid.
Okay. Back where we started.
Roll call.
Oh, oops, sorry. Okay. Turner?
Yes.
Stock?
Yes.
Young?
Yes.
Meadows?
Yes.
Calvert?
Yes.
Harville?
Yes.
Elbert?
Yes.
Page 4. Reports of standing committees. Boonville Housing Authority. Any comments?
Yeah, I think we addressed most of the housing authority's concerns at the last meeting.
Speak up, Si.
Yeah, I think we addressed most of the, Boonville Housing Authority's concerns at the last meeting, and Bob attended as well. They had some additional, normal maintenance stuff that they had to go over, tree trimming and stuff like that. But the biggest concern was about additional housing coming into the city, and that's been presented, so.
Okay. Good, Si. Anybody else?
sir.
Just a quick comment. They do an excellent job.
Bob does a great job.
They do an excellent job.
You're
They
right.
take care of their property. Well, I'm just kind of wondering why they haven't done more housing.
I can't answer that
Well, that's
completely.
just
I
a
can
question.
give you
That's
some-
all I'm on.
It's all federally funded.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
all funded on the backside by
I mean,
the rent that they get, the net rent that they,
Yeah.
But they
get.
do a great job.
Yeah.
I mean, I've reviewed their funds, I've went through their bank accounts, and I mean, it's truly, they apply for it every year, and they potentially could lose funding for the next year. So, I mean, building in general is crazy expensive now.
Sure.
And, yeah, they would love to expand beyond 50 units, you know, but the funding just is not there.
So they have 50 units?
50 units.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the occupancy's been at 100% or 98% or better for a long time, right?
Right.
Item 10, reports of city officials. City administrator.
So just 2 items tonight. First, I want to make you aware of something that will be coming up on the next agenda in October is the police department radio. So maybe about 6 years ago, the police department needed to move to new radios to be compatible with Moshwin as that transition was going. I'm looking at Randy, make sure I'm saying the right thing. And our radios are failing, I guess is the best word to use. They're not working, and also they've now been discontinued, so it's getting increasingly harder to find replacement parts. So for some of you who maybe have been around, we talked about water meters and our meter readers. Back then, it's kind of the same thing. So if you recall, the county commission had said that we could apply for a sub-grant for their ARPA funds, and I had initially planned to use that on some of the developments out on 87 and for sewer and water. It's my recommendation that we divert some of those to purchase new radios. This is a considerable cost. It's going to be about $287,000 just for the radios. That doesn't include labor. So we've already talked to the county commission. They're amenable to us making that application. I actually have it already into them. I just assumed you guys would like this idea. But it is really important. Our officers are finding increasing areas where either the radios just have to be reset continually or they're not able to get out. So it's a safety and security issue that needs to be addressed. Randy and I initially were going to try to do like half this year with some funds and half next year, but I think it's a better decision just to do them all. We had hoped to have this on our agenda for an approval purchase, but there were some last minute changes to the bid. So we did get them in, but we're waiting a labor number. So I will have that for you, and Randy did solicit bids from multiple companies. We're moving to a Motorola radio, which has been much more reliable. They've been using a test one for over a month now, right?
Yes, we use one for a month or so.
So if you guys have any questions, you can ask Randy or myself.
Yeah. So we are looking at trying to get this approved next meeting? Okay, yeah, good. Quick.
How many years has this has been going on as long as I've been on here, and I'm going on 8 years, so it's been going at least.
We've had issues all over town with our walkies at first. Now we're having issues with our mobile radios where they actually will be talking on it, it'll just all of a sudden lock up where they can't talk. If this does happen when they're in the house, we have what we call a repeater in the car. And when you go to the house, you talk through your walkie and it talks to the car then transmits to the station. If it locks up, then you don't have a repeater to get out to the station. Hopefully you can get out without the repeater. But most over the town, it takes repeaters to get out. There's a lot of valleys and dips. The new subdivisions, Boone Point, when you first go in there, that's a bowl. We're gonna need some help there. They did get a loaner. They tried it everywhere around town. They even went into a factory with it in midday on the floor. It got out perfectly. And just in that area, they had trouble getting out with the radios we have now. So it seems to be a very good thing to do.
Good. Thanks,
I
Randy.
should say for some of you who remember during the budget session, we thought maybe we needed some more towers because of the topography, so we were gonna hire a contractor to investigate that issue, but we ended up thinking that wasn't the problem, that it was more of a radio problem, so we didn't end up doing the contract work with that contractor.
More questions? Okay, go ahead.
Thanks, Randy.
And then the second thing is Amber just passed out, Gertie Corning and Chitwood completed our audit. You can read this letter. We have copies of the audit, so if anyone wants to take it home to read it, you're welcome to take it home. We had a successful year. There were very few comments. We had one deficiency on tourism where we had expected to receive from grant receivables, but they didn't come in until fiscal year 22-23, so it looks like we expended more than we brought in on revenue. That doesn't mean that we had a deficit in our bank account. It just means that we look like we spent more than we had planned. But otherwise, there was no other notes, and so, but the letter is there. And also, if you guys have any questions, you can reach out to Jeff Chitwood. He'll be happy to answer them as well if you have more detailed questions.
Is this basically a compliance audit? Is that what it is?
Yeah. And then I don't think we had enough federal funds this year for a federal, but next year we'll probably have to do one.
Any other questions? I have nothing this evening. City Clerk?
I don't have anything either.
Any miscellaneous? Hands up. Go, Steve.
Up first. This Kemper Village application, I mean, we have not approved anything yet, right?
So that the one that's slated to go next to Kemper Greens development,
Right.
that's already there, you just provided a resolution of support. But I do want to remind you that the way a third-class city operates, you don't have the luxury of deciding whether or not you like what is going in, whether it's a business, how many apartments are in there. That's not within your purview. Your job is to make sure it meets with our development standards, and if it meets with development standards, then it should be an automatic yes vote. Now, if they're asking for a variance or a departure from code or something, that's something that you guys can discuss and allow or not allow. We've done that before with Boone Point. We have a steeper street. We've had a couple narrower streets, longer terminus streets. So there's little things that we've approved in all kinds of subdivisions. But as long as it meets our standards, it's a yes vote, as long as it's compliant with our zoning and planning.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Good question. Somebody else? Did you have something?
You miscellaneous, yeah. But I wanna backtrack on something real quick. You were talking about the deal on Highland Drive, and we had to do a change order because there was not enough base on that street, correct? Remember when they started going through it and doing the blacktop, and it was like they were just falling, the bottom was falling out?
Correct. We
Okay.
took two inches off, found that we were in base rock, and we couldn't put 2 inches back.
That's what he was talking
That's what I was
about. I just wanna make sure
But
that
that
we
has
were.
nothing to do with the concrete street.
I know, but that was a,
Yes, we had to
Yes.
tear that street apart.
gotcha.
And rebuild.
Okay, that's all I got.
Thanks, Mike. Albert?
A couple items. This thing about looking at all our fees and making some adjustments where it seems to make sense, and I think that's a good move. I have a similar question about some of our other bills and ordinance. Do we have a process where we go back and look at old laws, old process to see if they're still applicable today, or do we just keep running on the old ones, whether they're applicable or not?
So that's what Teresa and I are starting. We haven't done any comprehensive ordinance amendment or review as long as I've been here. So we're gonna start in chapter 1.
Good deal.
And you're gonna just see a bunch, maybe some have no changes, some might have just a few verbiage changes. We're aware of several small changes that need to be made that just haven't gotten done. The concrete streets is an example. That one is just an issue that's come to light that we wanted to change before we had more development.
Okay, great.
Good question, Albert.
Thanks. Just one final question. You may not think it's a good. Could somebody provide, I'm looking at your email, Kate, that you put out. Can somebody give us just a little bit of history, if you will, on why do we have this policy of presenters that walk in, they're not on the agenda, but they have some comments. We land it to 3 minutes and there's no question. Can somebody give some background? Why do we have that policy?
Well, so it doesn't have to be again, the council creates the rules by which you meet. So these things can be changed, but I think generally the context of it sort of being a more one-way public comment period and then bringing it up under miscellaneous is that there are times where the meeting can get derailed and then Bobby has to escort someone out, or other things are going on, or people are yelling it back and forth at each other because it's not a productive
It's out of
use.
control? Is
Yep.
that what we're saying?
Yep.
Okay, and that's fine, I understand that. You can't have too much back and forth, but I guess one concern I have with that is, I think you or somebody was suggesting that presenter has to stay around till we get to miscellaneous, and I don't know if they always want to do that, whether we're putting them out to do that. If we do have questions for them, they have to wait until, is that my understanding that correctly?
That's currently how it's set up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Essentially what it is to try and do the right things at the right time inside the meetings so that the meetings go smoothly.
Yeah, and I certainly.
And we don't end up being here until midnight.
Sure.
So that's why we've done that. I don't think there's anything, we're not refusing to look at or discuss any kind of subject. It's just a matter of being able to control meetings.
I was just curious as to how we
It's a good question.
doing
Yeah.
that.
I should also say it's a note of fairness, so maybe, so Bob comes up here and says something and asks questions and nobody asks questions back, or he sits down and then Susie comes up and says something and then there's lots of questions. That might not feel like a fair exchange to how their opinions are being expressed.
Good question. Somebody else? Oh, what, Steve?
You ready for a motion?
Steve, what you sitting on?
I'm not.
Go for it, man.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, okay.
Does anyone want the audit to take home?
How big is it?
Give me 4 or 5. Give me 4 or 5.
That's it.